Alright, today we're going to talk about using foam rolls as part of your training program. Foam rolls have many different uses as part of any kind of a routine. What we're going to talk about today is primarily three different topics related to using the foam rolls in your training. The first of which, you can use the foam rolls as part of your warm-up routine. Basically, when you do that, what you're going to be concentrating on is trying to just loosen the muscles up, try to get some stiffness out of there, increase blood flow to the area prior to your workout. You can combine that with some dynamic warm-up exercises and maybe a little bit of stretching, depending on what you're going to be training that day. Another use of the foam rolls is going to be more therapeutic as far as doing some myofascial therapy or self-massage type of work. Usually it works pretty well. You can hit a lot of major muscle groups in the spine as well as in the kind of in your glutes, lower extremity. You can do some upper extremity stuff, but I think it's a lot better to use for lower extremity and spine. The other use that you can do for the foam rolls is kind of using them as part of a prehab or rehab program to kind of retrain balance and proprioception. It can be used if people have had some type of a low back injury or some type of ankle or lower extremity where you really want to work on improving some balance and coordination. Foam rolls come in several different styles. They'll have the full round foam rolls as well as the half round foam rolls, and then they'll have them in smaller, 1 foot thickness or 1 foot in length and 3 foot in length. So they both have different uses. Usually for a lot of the myofascial work and the dynamic warm up or the therapeutic massage type of stuff, you're going to want to use the full round. For the more balance and proprioception, it's usually best to start with the half round rolls and go from there. You can start off with the flat surface down. That's going to give you a more stable surface, and then when you go to the rounded surface, that'll increase the challenges to your balance and coordination and proprioception. So as you improve with those and those get easier for you, then you can progress to using the full round rolls through there. Okay, now when we're going to start off using the foam rolls more for the warm-up type exercises, typically what you're going to do is you're going to start with some shorter kind of strokes back and forth, and probably do 15 to 20 in each area. You'll gradually lengthen the stroke of the roll. Like I say, on this type of exercise, what you're looking for isn't so much to do a lot of pressure point chair therapy and that kind of thing. What you want to do is just cause a general loosening of the muscles as well as increasing the circulation and the blood supply to the area. Now when you want to try to do more of the self-massage or myofascial therapy, typically what you'll do is start off in a similar fashion. You can start off with the kind of the smaller motions back and forth through the muscle groups, and then progressing to a little bit larger stroke. And then what you can find is that once you've identified areas, usually when you're rolling back and forth, you'll find some areas that may be tender or very sore as you roll over it. Then you can go back over to those areas after you've kind of done a few different passes over the muscle, and then spend a little bit more time kind of putting pressure over that area. And depending on how sore or stiff it is, everybody's a little different, but you can hold pressure onto those areas for about 10 seconds and see if it releases. If it doesn't release, you can hold on to it longer. Typically you're not going to want to hold on to a pressure on that area for more than about 60 seconds. It should release in that time. Now the one caution that I have is, you don't want to do that too frequently, so you're not going to want to do that on the same muscle groups every day, because the muscle may not have enough time to recover. It'll be sore, and you can kind of make it extra sensitive and just kind of keep it chronically inflamed. So you want to make sure that you don't do that too often. It's okay to do the warm-up type procedure on a daily basis, but you wouldn't want to do the more specialized myofascial therapy on a daily basis. So if you do have time in your schedule and you would like to do some of that on a daily basis, what I would suggest is concentrate on certain muscle groups one day and then switch and do different muscle groups the next day and kind of go back and forth that way. The other recommendations that I would give too are you just need to be real careful on certain different areas of the body. One, you don't want to make sure that you're putting a lot of pressure over areas where it's just a bony surface. So if there's not a lot of soft tissue that overlies the area, you don't want to just dig in on an area, put a lot of pressure where it's just the bone, because you could potentially irritate the covering of the bone and create a painful situation there. The other areas where you want to be careful is over either vascular bundles or nerve bundles. One of the biggest areas where you could hit some of those would be in the gluteal region. The sciatic nerve runs through your glutes, and a lot of times people will use the rollers to get the glutes, which is perfectly fine. However, you just want to make sure that you're not getting too much pressure down over the deeper portion of the glute, down in through there, because you could potentially cause undue pressure on the sciatic nerve and create some irritation there. Also, if you're trying to roll out through the hip flexor area, which is in the front of the hip, you just have to be careful, because the femoral nerves and arteries and stuff pass through that area, so you don't want to put too much compression through there. Obviously, there's a lot of other exercises and stuff you can do. There are a few different books available on the EFS site that deal with therapeutic uses of the foam rolls. They'll have more exercises in there than you could come up with, and obviously the applications to being used in the gym with different exercises is pretty much just up to your imagination. You can add them into a lot of different exercises, and you can play around with it and see how it helps with your gains.